So after 1 year on YouTube, that's crazy to say out loud, but after 1 year, it's safe to say I've learned quite a bit. Looking back at some of my older videos and some of the ways I used to structure some things, I've learned quite a bit. This is something that you're thinking about doing. I'm gonna go over 4 or 5 things today that I wish I would have done from the start. So maybe when you do, you can be ahead of the game. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Tempus TV. If you're new to the channel, I moved to Thailand about 1 year ago. I essentially sold everything, moved here with the hopes of creating a channel to help you guys out with any questions you might have about moving overseas and kind of create my own space where I could do what I wanted, when I wanted, and be able to go anywhere and be able to make some money. Now, after 1 year and over 200 videos, it is safe to say I've learned quite a bit about filmmaking and, essentially just the way that YouTube works and how to get yourself out there. When I first came, I didn't really do that much research, to be honest. I kind of just said, I'm gonna dive in and just kind of learn it as I go. Would I say that was a mistake? Yes and no, because it forced me to kind of take things in my own space and kind of learn them how I wanted to. But I do wish there was a couple things I knew so I could hit the ground running a little bit faster. Now, for the most part, I would say that there's no real right and wrong way to do YouTube. One of the great things about YouTube and one of the reasons that I got into content creation is because you can create your own lane. And honestly, I think that is one of the biggest keys to success. Obviously, YouTube has become very popular over the past 10 years. There are hundreds of thousands of creators. There's millions of videos. There's tons of content going up every day. So I think a big key to success is using what you have, being yourself, and kind of, even if you're doing the same type of videos as other people around you, doing your best to hone in on what makes you different and what, really makes you an individual. Once you do find that, lean into what you're good at. Don't spend too much time emulating, spend more time creating. And I think that's one of the coolest things about content creation is you're not really forced to have this formula to success, but there are a few things I think that you really need to have honed in so you set yourself up for success the best you can. Now, one big mistake that I feel like I've seen quite a few people kind of set themselves up for when first starting to get into content creation, and that's going down the equipment and gear rabbit hole. Now, I was definitely guilty of this too. When I first started, I was like, man, I need the nicest camera. I need the top of the line editing programs. I need the external mics. I need the lav mics. I need the lighting. And now, yes, of course, these things can help out your production in the long run, but if you're just starting out, honestly, you're probably not gonna be able to utilize all those things to their full potential anyways. Nowadays, an iPhone and some even free editing programs are more than enough to get you started. So don't go down that rabbit hole when you see those guys with millions of subscribers and the big fancy DSLR cameras and all the lav mics and all that stuff. Don't go down that rabbit hole because honestly, you're just gonna end up spending a lot more money than you need to when there's other things you could be focusing on at the start. Now, kind of piggybacking off of that, one thing that I definitely learned the hard way when first starting out. Now, let me remind you, when I started, I had no experience editing videos. I had no experience filming, how to frame stuff, how to do moving shots and make everything work. One of the big rabbit holes that I went down when I first started was looking at people who have been in the niche for years and looking at their videos and looking at their edits and be like, man, this is the type of edit that I need to be on to be successful. So when you first start out, if you spend all your time trying to make your videos look like Casey Neistat's, you're gonna go down a rabbit hole. And I think one of the biggest things when you're first starting out is trying to increase the speed of your workflow. So if you're sitting on your computer and you're taking 5, 6, 7 hours to edit a video when you first start out, it can be really easy to get frustrated and burned out. And I think when you sit down to edit, you kind of have in your mind already what you want it to be. And if you're sitting in your edit for too long, you kind of start to lose sight of that. and at the end, or you might start pushing through, and so your first half of your video is edited really well, and then the second half kind of gets, you know, just thrown to the wayside because you're bored and it's hard for you to sit down and edit for that long. When you first start out, I definitely suggest trying to introduce maybe 1 or 2 new things to every one of your edits. If you want to try a new transition, if you want to try some new framing, things like that. Instead of trying to do it all in that one video, spread it out. Do it over 5 or 6 videos and just add that one thing, and then it'll help increase your speed. Also, in your editing program, learn all your hotkeys. Learn anything you can to speed up your editing process, because I think the faster you get in, edit, and get out, that will increase the quality of your videos. Now, this might seem a little contradictory to our last point, but I also think it's very important when you first start out to look at creators that you enjoy and really start to analyze and pick apart why you like those videos. Whether it be the way that they shoot their B-roll, the way that they structure their talking head clips, their transitions, their color grades, whatever it may be. When you start your own channel and you continue to watch other creators that you enjoy, really start to analyze why you enjoy that. There's billions of people that watch YouTube every single day, and those creators have big numbers for a reason. There are people out there that are relatable to you and are looking for the same type of things when it comes to the videos that they watch. If you look at my video catalog over this past year, it has definitely changed, and you might be able to see some aspects from some other creators that you enjoy. And after a while, you take one thing from this guy, one thing from this guy that you like, and after a while, you'll kind of start to meld your own style. And that's one thing that you shouldn't be too worried about when you first start out. Emulation is not necessarily a bad thing. Just make sure to do your best to not just carbon copy everything you see, because then, like we said, you're not really leaning into what makes you different from everybody else and what makes you an individual creator compared to all those other guys. Now, another huge thing that I definitely neglected when I started was actually taking some time to learn about and analyze how YouTube actually works when it comes to making sure that you come up in searches, keywords, metadata, all that stuff. How to title your videos, how to put certain things in your description so YouTube knows what that video is about. There's tons of books out there, there's tons of blogs. That would be a whole video in itself if I tried to explain all that to you, but that is one thing that's definitely important. I always say, it doesn't matter how good your video is, how good your edit is, if people can't find it. Especially when you first start out, you're gonna be relying on search results pretty much for 95% of your viewers. You're gonna be wanting to make videos that will pop up when people search certain keywords. So do your research. There's a couple of really good add-ons and extensions for, you know, Chrome or Firefox that will help you search keywords, will help you really pick apart what videos are showing up for what searches, and that will definitely help you and make sure that your videos are getting in front of eyeballs when you first start out. And that is a huge thing to remember. When you're first starting your channel, YouTube is gonna take some time to figure out what your videos are and who wants to watch those videos. So the more you lean on these keywords and the more you learn about metadata and SEO and all that, YouTube starts to learn who your audience is and who wants to see your videos. And at the end of the day, YouTube wants people to watch your videos, because if they're watching your videos, they're watching ads and they're staying on YouTube, which is the whole idea of the YouTube algorithm. It's not this almighty overseeing being. At the end of the day, it's all about getting people to stay on YouTube as long as possible. So if YouTube knows that your content is keeping people on the platform, they'll continue to push it to new people. Now, back to our point of it doesn't matter how good your video is if nobody clicks on it. Thumbnails and titles. One more time. Thumbnails and titles. One more time. Thumbnails and titles. When I first started putting up videos, my titles and my thumbnails would always kind of fall by the wayside. I would shoot my video, get everything edited, and then just be like, oh shit, well now I need a thumbnail, and kind of just power through it and not really take any time. Now I have kind of redirected my workflow in a sense that I will think of my title and have an idea of what I want my thumbnail to be before I even start shooting, because then you can structure the whole flow of your video, the vibe, all your dialogue can be structured around that title. The big turning point in my channel when I definitely started to notice better views, better click-through rates, better retention was when I started to spend much more time on my titles and my thumbnails. Hit up YouTube Academy, go learn a few things about Photoshop. There are plenty of tutorials on how to make thumbnails, and then do your best to try to create your own style. And then once you start to develop your own style for your thumbnails and titles, it will also help you with the continuity on your homepage. I don't know about you, but me, if I go check out somebody's homepage and all their thumbnails are relatively the same and they kind of have their own distinct style, just makes it look more professional for me. And that could definitely help me to want to subscribe to that channel. So I'm assuming there's probably a lot of people that feel the same. And probably my biggest piece of advice, something that I have to remind myself of all the time, is that you're learning. You're not gonna hit the ground running. You're more than likely not gonna hit 100,000 subs in a month. Be honest with yourself, be patient, and just know that it is a grind. And you're also gonna have some months where you do super great, and then the next month might not do that well. It's not this big exponential curve, it kind of goes in waves. So just keep grinding at it, keep improving every video, and after a while, you'll start to look back and be like, damn, I'm actually getting pretty good at this. I just hit that point after a year where I'm pretty confident in my edits. I'm pretty confident in that all my stuff, I feel like I've kind of got it dialed in now, and now I'm really starting to see the results of it. So just be patient with yourself and know that it just takes time. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Tempus TV. If you'd like to see and learn more about Thailand, maybe you'd like to learn some more about YouTube creation, feel free to click the video on screen right now, drop a subscribe. And if you do have any more in-depth questions that might be a little hard to answer in a video, feel free to drop them in the comments or hit up my live streams. I live stream once, sometimes twice a week, so make sure you subscribe and check those out. Like we always say, I hope you guys have a great day. We'll catch you in the next one.